Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and in this episode, we're kicking you right in the nostalgic feels. That's because this review is not one, not two, not four, but three different figure sets in one video. And why am I doing three all at once instead of just doing them all one by one individually? Because I think this is the holy trinity of action figure lines from the 80s all together in one interesting, unique way of making them. So regular fans of this channel know that I talk a lot about Diamond Select products, and I'm a real big fan in particular of their Minimates line. Minimates is like one of the longest running action figure lines that's out there that is little tiny figures that are super customizable, always highly detailed, wonderfully put together, and at this point now, Diamond has done so many different licenses among them that man, it's like a whole universe unto itself. And the franchises that Diamond has access to continues to expand every year more and more. And here as we wrap up 2022, I feel like this is like one of the biggest years ever for Minimates because they really have every single major childhood toy that I've ever wanted in Minimate form. And man, do they look good like this. So today it is the holy trinity of 80s toys in Minimate style because we're looking at three different things in three different styles. So kicking things off here, we're gonna take a look at some Transformers Minimates. Now, Diamond's been doing Transformers for a little bit already. They've actually are now a few series into this lineup here. And yeah, so we've looked at them already on the channel. They blew my mind. They were gorgeous looking Minimates. And Transformers is just awesome to begin with. Everybody loves Transformers, but doing them in this style, this is a lot of fun and a very, very cool collectible. But that's not all, because that's just the tip of the iceberg. Because from there, it's time for some turtle power. We got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Minimates form. What? Excuse me? What? And not only that, they're Minimates packaged in a VHS style box. Are you kidding me right now? This is a videotape full of action figures. This is like my dreams come true. And this isn't exactly new territory for them because they've already done a few things in this style. Here's in fact a Transformer set that came out earlier this year. So they've been doing a bunch of nostalgic toys with a VHS style packaging, and that is such a clever, wonderful way to package these things. And they've been doing this for their full-size action figures too. Earlier at SDCC, they had basically VHS tapes for Karate Kid, for John Wick, for Bruce Lee. They are so cool, they're so stylish, and they look great sitting on a shelf somewhere. But these, of course, are toys, so they're not going to sit on my shelf for too long in this packaging, but yeah, this is the kind of box you do not get rid of. And last but certainly not least, Yo Joe, we got G.I. Joe Minimates. Now this is brand new, and these, I cannot believe how good these look, you guys, because check them out. Not only is this like a Foot Locker full of G.I. Joe action figures, but these G.I. Joe Minimates are all individually packaged in classic retro style packaging. So just like you would have gotten those original G.I. Joes in the blister packs, you're getting them here in Minimate style, and oh my God, I cannot believe how good they look. So today it is three action figure reviews in one because we've got G.I. Joe, we got Ninja Turtles, we got Transformers, and they are all in this kick-ass Minimate style. And I love these figures so much, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna love these too. So whether you're familiar with Minimates or you're completely new to it, get ready to check these things out, and man, this is just like my childhood in tiny, tiny form. I can't wait to take a look at these things, so let's waste no time anymore here. Let's jump on into things and let's start taking a look at some toys. So let's kick off this review by first going over some Transformers, because we've seen the Transformers already in some other reviews like I mentioned at the top of this video here, so this is really nothing new for us, but I do want to go over them again because they are still pretty breathtaking pieces of action figure fun. So the packaging is like we were talking about earlier in other videos. It's a blister style packaging here, and they are 4-packs, because for the most part now Minimates are doing them as multi-packs, no more 2-packs, but at minimum a 4-pack upwards of 6 figures per. So you guys can also see it has like similar colors and a similar vibe of the original Transformers packaging too, down to that kind of grid artwork, the red and purple colors, really cool. And of course you have the big Transformers logo here. So this particular series we're looking at today includes Jazz, RC, Coronation Starscream, and Galvatron. So you can kind of argue this is almost like a look at the characters from the movie, in fact, because that's where you would have seen both these guys' first debut. And really, yeah, Starscream didn't really last as king for much longer than that either. So there you go. We'll flip this over real quickly and show you guys the back of the packaging. And again, doesn't really tell you much about who each individual character is, but it does give us a little bio about what a Transformer is in case you didn't know. So, you know, the thing too about looking at the back of the packaging here, it totally doesn't do these figures justice. I mean, you know, you can't see just how quite shiny they are, how greatly detailed they are, and that's why we got to really bust these guys out of the packaging right now to get a better look at them. So let's do that, and let's start talking Transformers, because there's more than meets the eyes to these figures. And here are our 4 Transformers now out of the packaging. So we have 2 Autobots over here and 2 Decepticons over here. So one thing I want to mention right away is that they come with a few accessories. This wave is a little bit lighter on the accessories because we got some pretty big figures, and really, they're, two of them are already basically wearing their accessories because Galvatron has his big arm cannon, Starscream has his arm cannons as well on each side, plus he's already wearing the cape and the shoulder pads and all that cool stuff. So these are some pretty big figures across the board here. But I do want to mention that every single one of them comes with a base. So everybody's getting a base here. And it's going to help them stand up. But really, you don't need the bases. Minimates tend to be very, very well-balanced figures. We'll still use them later on, but yeah, it's nice to have them. I always appreciate a good base with a toy. So let's talk about some of the detail work, the likenesses, and all that cool stuff here because, man, Minimates do not ever skimp out on the details. And the Transformers waves have been really, really astounding with how good they've done them. So yeah, just looking at them piece by piece here, I mean, you guys can see they've captured the likenesses of all of our Transformers here. And not only that, they've also nailed those looks. They've nailed their robot modes as well. Obviously, these can't transform because that's a whole other story. It's a whole other company too. But they do pretty much have the likenesses down as far as the body, as far as the look, and they've shrank it down into this Minimate format that makes them kind of cartoony and fun in a different way. So we'll flip them over real quick too so you guys can see some of the details here. So Galvatron, Starscream, I mean, these guys are loaded up with details, but let's not ignore Jazz and RC because they're looking really nice too. And one of the cool things about these particular Transformers figures is the metallic paints that they're using for all of them here. So, they can't use die-cast pieces on these figures because that would increase the price tenfold. It would make them very, very expensive little dudes. But what they can do is use metallics, and they use it really, really wisely, I think, with the Transformers pieces. You can see just like how shiny and glossy they look, and that really makes them feel like they're actual cars and that they're machines. This wave has a lot of my favorite characters in here too because I love Coronation Starscream and everybody loves Starscream, but Coronation Starscream is like such a special, rare variant of him, if you will, moments before he gets killed by Galvatron. So it's really cool to have him in this format here. And it's a real like deluxe feeling figure too. And there are a lot of new pieces here because again, we have the crown, we have this cape here. And so at this point, I want to kind of point out how the Minimates work. And I feel like Starscream is a real great example of this because really every Minimate for the most part, especially in this Transformers wave, has like completely new tooling. And the way it works here is there's basically like a base Minimate body underneath all these things. And yeah, you can pop all the things out. You can pop the head off if you want as well. I don't think I'm going to do that today. It's a little difficult actually on the Starscream, but we'll try it with a different guy. In fact, let's bring over Jazz right now too. Let's talk about him for a second and get a better look at our Jazz, because this is a cool piece too. And Jazz is another one of my favorite Transformers also. I've always liked that design a lot. So yeah, the way these figures work is they all are very customizable, and that's one of the beauties of Minimates because of how they're made. So we can pop this helmet off here, we can take his head off, we can take this off, we can take that off, we can do everything we want with these guys. Every single part of them comes out because you have just a base Minimate body, and that's how these things get constructed. So they're all completely customizable. And that's like one of the real big perks, I think, of Minimates. A lot of people might not even realize is that, yeah, you have a lot of freedom to do a lot of customization with these if you want. Obviously, you don't have to. You could be like me and just leave them the way they are, which is fine because, yeah, they look really good the way they are already. But if you wanted to go the extra mile and actually, make your own, repaint them, you can easily do that. Like, they make them this way so that you can swap parts, that you can customize and kit bash, and really don't need to work that hard to make it happen. But yeah, as far as like the detail and the looks these guys go, I mean, yeah, there's nothing bad to say about any of them. Galvatron is like one of the coolest designs from 80s toys history. I don't quite know if I liked him necessarily in the Transformers TV show as much, but in the movie, he was quite a threat to be reckoned with. And likewise here, I mean, this looks really cool. And one of the nice parts about him also is that these weapons pop out. And we've seen that throughout a lot of the other Transformer Minimates with their swappable weapons, and especially the ones that attach to them. So again, it allows you for a lot of customization and just easy posing, easy displayability. And the other thing too is they've got pretty great articulation. And we're going to take a better look at the articulation with a different toy line, but I just want to point out that in general, it is very, very good. Let's not forget our RC over here as well. This is, I think, a really, really shiny paint job here, a really good paint job in this character. I'm digging that as well. Let's see if the helmet pops off. It does. They all have this little hole in the head too, so that's how things stay secure on them. So you don't have to worry about them popping off that easily either. All the pieces are very, very secure. So I think now's a good time to start talking about some of the accessories that all these guys come with, because RC is one of the characters that does have accessories. She has 2 blasters, which easily slide into their hands. And we'll get this one over here. Poof, just as easy as that. RC is locked and loaded, ready for some action. And besides having those 2 guns, I did mention that RC has a spare head. She's the only other character that has an alternate head in this lineup here. So just as easy as that, we pop off one head, we get the other one on, snaps right into place, And there you go, we now have RC with her visor. Unless we forget Jazz, because he has his blaster too, which is also pretty accurate too with the toy and the cartoon show. And again, fits into his hand super easy. Get him into combat position. He's ready to blast some Decepticons. Unless this is based on his appearance in the movie, in which case he's gonna die. But yeah, no, this is a really great wave in particular, just a lot of my personal favorites. So I'm really digging this wave. That's our look at some Transformers Minimates. They're knockouts, as always, great figures, great Minimates, but that's not all we're looking at today, is it? No, it's not, because it's time to get some turtle power. Let's keep this retro party going. It's time to watch some Ninja Turtles. So I already mentioned to you guys, this is another way that they're doing the Minimates now, and that's in this retro style packaging. And when I say retro style packaging, I don't mean like the original action figures necessarily, but what I do mean is coming to you in a VHS tape. And I'm gonna flip it over so you guys can see. You get a legitimate VHS tape design. I mean, it's almost the exact same size, I think, too. It's not quite, but it's pretty close to being at least similar length of a VHS tape. It's definitely a little bit thicker because it is, at the end of the day, after all, an action figure set, and you know, not quite the same dimensions, but it's still pretty darn close. I love that it also says 2-night rental on the side here. That's just a cute little touch for folks. If you know, you know. If you don't, you're too young. Yeah, just really cool here. It even has like a Be Kind, Please Rewind sticker on it. I mean, fun stuff like that is what makes this just so cool to have as a collectible item. And also it makes you really want to hold on to that packaging. Let's flip it over though and take a look at the actual toys themselves, because they're pretty great as well. So here's our 4-pack of the Turtles, and just give you guys a quick glimpse of what's in there. So once you do actually get this, it is this really nice looking window case over here. So you get a great look at everybody that's in it. And that's, again, once you just slide it right down out of the box, so you have a wonderful view of every toy that's in this pack here. And this one's got a lot of fun elements to it, which we'll see when we take everybody out here. But yeah, we've got our 4 Turtles. We've got Leonardo, we've got Donatello. On the bottom, we have Michelangelo, we've got Raphael. We also have some ooze, we have some weapons, we have some little baby turtles. We have a lot of different things here. So yeah, as much as I want to keep these guys packaged like this forever, I can't do that. So let's go ahead, crack this tape open, and take a look at our Minimates inside. So the Turtles are going to be a little bit more difficult to review the way I was just doing the Transformers because, well, they got a shell on their backs, and that makes them a little bit more round, so they can't just lay flat on their back. So I'm gonna have to hand hold all of them here. Let's see how many I can get in my hand at once here. But yeah, so the cool thing about these Turtles is that they're kind of meant to be like the toys, I think more so than the cartoon or anything else. Like, they're meant to actually kind of be reminiscent of the Playmates action figures. And you can tell that because the colors of all the characters here, and they are pretty much Playmates toy accurate. And likewise, you can say the same thing about all their facial expressions, because they all have those same weird facial expressions that the Playmates Turtles toys did also. And if you guys had those toys, you know what I'm talking about. Because some of them had like the full mouth grimaces like you see on Raphael and Donatello. Leonardo and Michelangelo had like half mouth grins, but they all have a similar kind of like face sculpt regardless of that. So yeah, they all have the heads like that. They all have the colors of their bodies the way the original toys were. That's so fun. That really adds just like an extra element of good nostalgic fun memories to these toys. And speaking of the paint jobs too, again, just very clean paint jobs all around. I'll show you guys the back of them too. You know, like this is exactly how I remember my Turtles, except now they're just, you know, a fraction of the size of those original Playmates 4.5-inch toys. So yeah, they're really cool looking like that, but they're not just 4 Turtles. They come with a ton of awesome accessories. And because I feel like a kid, I'm just going to go ahead and dump them right on out on the table, the way that God intended them to be done. So yeah, we have a bunch of really fun accessories here. And so just like we saw earlier with the other figures, the other Minimates, everybody has bases, but the difference with this set is that our Turtles have really a few different styles of bases here. So we have the same clear bases like we saw at the Transformers. We get 2 of those, but we also get one base with some ooze on it and another base that's a manhole cover. So a lot of real fun stuff there, and this really adds to the storytelling of how you can display these figures. Now again, I don't think you really need to have the bases to keep these guys standing because they're usually pretty solid, but yeah, they attach really easily just like this. Very easy to attach onto the bases, and they will always stay on those bases too, so you don't have to worry about them coming loose, because Diamond does a good job with bases in general with all of their toys. But besides the bases, we have a bunch of other fun accessories here. I think this is where the real fun's going to begin. So let's start with some of the weapons. So, you know, as we already mentioned, these are basically similar to those Playmates action figures. And the Playmates action figures, you can remember, didn't have painted up accessories. They basically were just like one color, straight off the sprue, and that's what you're getting here. You're getting the exact same weapons you had as a kid, but in Minimate form. So, you know, again, proportionate to the characters, but they're all in that same one color you would have gotten on those original 80s toys. And that's a really fun throwback. Again, great nostalgia and a great choice, because this basically is like your real nostalgic version of getting those toys but in a Minimate format. So Michelangelo has his nunchucks, and let's see how those look in his hands. And yeah, all the weapons will fit in their hands without any problems. You know, I know that for a fact. So we'll get Donatello to have that bow staff here in his hand. And yeah, I said that without even actually testing this out, so I have no idea if it's actually going to be true or not, but I'm that confident that all these accessories are going to go into their hands with no issues, because Minimates is just that good at it. I mean, honestly, the only problems I'm actually having are just because my fingers are too big to fit them in the tiny little hand slits there. But yeah, everybody's weaponed up right now. We'll get both nunchucks and Mikey just to be super complete about this. But yeah, everybody can hold their weapons. No problems here. And they look really great with all of them there too, don't they? So yeah, besides that, we also get a few other fun accessories. We have, besides those two ninja stars, we have baby turtles. Everybody's got a baby turtle, so there's 4 of them to go together here. And they're all actually different painted, believe it or not. Like, they all have different colors because those colors would correlate to which turtle they transformed into. So that's a really fun little accessory there, little fun thing to note. You can see it better actually over here on their backs. You can see how each one of them has colors that would correlate to the turtle they grow up into. And besides the turtles, we also have a Mouser, and that's going to be in the Minimate style. So that's why it's looking a little bit more, I guess you could say the head especially, it's looking a little bit funny. That's because it's done in that Minimate style. And we also have a canister of ooze. So a lot of accessories in this pack here, really giving you a lot of bang for your buck. But the big thing I wanted to highlight here with these turtles in particular, and with the Minimates as a whole, is their articulation, because they've got a lot of it. They're very highly articulated figures. And despite the turtles having this giant chest piece kind of blocking their waist, you can get these toys into some very dynamic poses. I mean, ball joints in the legs, you've got a single joint in the knee, the ankles move as well, the wrists move, the elbows move, the heads rotate on the ball joint as well. So a lot of articulation here, which allows you to get a lot of display options. Because, Minimates are a lot of fun to keep in packaging, especially in the packaging we're looking at today. I mean, they look great. And I would tell you guys, if you are a loose collector, don't get rid of those boxes. Still display them somehow. But, as far as loose collectors go, I mean, these are just fun because they're pocket size, you can bring them wherever you want, and they pose in really just any way you want them to get. So, that makes them really worth having. But that's it for our turtles. Let's take a look at our final competitor here today in the world of Minimate competition. Well, there's no game because they're all the best. They're all really great. But let's go ahead and take a look at our G.I. Joe, shall we? And here we go. Final set we're going to look at today. This is the G.I. Joe Minimates, and this 4-pack has got our good guys. We got 4 of our Joes right here, and it's on sort of this like Foot Locker style packaging. So we have this wonderful sort of military kind of green color here. And on the front, we have this great big window. I think you see, well, more of the action figures are on the inside of this packaging. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time looking at this, but what is fun is it does list everybody's names in their proper position. So we have Snake Eyes, we have Scarlet, we have Roadblock, and we have Duke. And we have them all in too many packages. So let's go ahead and start getting them out of here, because I'm very curious to see, this actually keeps them in place. I'm very curious to see if this packaging is going to be collector friendly, because believe it or not, this is actually a blind opening for me as well. I don't know if these guys are going to be on the blister forever, or if it's basically they're on here for now and that's it. So I'm hoping that they're going to be able to get put back, but it looks like no. It looks like this is going to be classic style in that once you open them, that's it. You're not getting them back in the box ever again. So yes, this is like my greatest fear, unfortunately, is that these are not going to be able to get put back on there. Once you open them up, they're out of the packaging for good. But in that case, I'm going to spend some real time admiring these. And let's take a look at Snake Eyes, in fact. And I'll go through all of them, but yeah, I really want to show you guys the artwork on here, because these are basically just reproductions of that original G.I. Joe action figure packaging. So it makes sense that you couldn't put them back on here, and that would probably make the price even more money than these already are. But yeah, these are going to be in that classic style blister. Even when you flip it over, I mean, it's got the exact same details you remember as a kid. Maybe just not quite as many of them, but you're still getting all, at least the important parts of it, because you're still getting the bio, which you can cut out to add to your G.I. Joe command files. You're still getting a look at some of the other figures in the lineup. Granted, it's not maybe as vivid and lush as the originals would have been, but it's still pretty close, and you're still getting those memories. So, it's fun to have that, and everybody has it. And what's cool too about that is, they're all in Minimate style. So all their G.I. Joe command files all have their little Minimate head instead of how it would otherwise be. So this is basically a Minimate translation of those original 80s action figures. And they just look so cool. I love that artwork. I mean, really, how could you not love the artwork here? Find me somebody who doesn't love that artwork, and you've probably found someone who's a member of Cobra. But yeah, here's a look at our Scarlet as well as the Roadblock. And you can already see too, they come with a lot of weapons, come with a lot of accessories. So you're getting some really cool stuff here. You know, it's really fun too that they actually have like the hole as well to like put them on the pegs. So, you know, if you were somebody who wants to collect them, leave them mint in a card, I would say go for it, because quite honestly, I would totally just hang them up like this. And as I do this review now, in fact, I'm actually deciding what I want to do with them. You know what? I think I actually am going to go against the curve here, because we've already opened up some of these Minimates. We know what we're getting into here. I think I'm going to actually be that dude who does this review and does not take them out of the packaging, because I kind of want them just like the way they are right now. These look beautiful. So, you know, I think for the time being, these guys are going to stay in here, because, you know what? We already got a bunch of Lucy's. These guys deserve to be kept the way they are. So while I feel like I'm about to go against all of how I'm supposed to do toy reviews or whatever, I'm going to listen to my heart in this case. I want to leave these guys in the boxes. But on that note too, for anybody who is collecting these, just take a look at all the accessories everybody comes with here. You know, Snake Eyes has a pistol, he has a knife, he has a sword, Scarlet has her crossbow, Roadblock has his giant machine gun, and Duke has an M16 with a rocket launcher, plus they all have pistols as well. So they all come with pretty much as many accessories as you could cram into a G.I. Joe figure that's done in Minimate style. Plus, they all do still have the bases. Well, I don't know if you can tell in there, everybody still has a base. So if you do want to display these loose, you're going to have a lot of accessories, you're going to have a lot of options, you're going to have a lot of posability, and honestly, you're going to have a lot of fun. So I'm sorry to disappoint anybody who wanted to see me crack these guys open, but take my word for it. You've already seen how they operate with Transformers, with Ninja Turtles. You know, I don't really feel like you need to see it again, so I'm going to go ahead, pull these guys away, and let's give you my final thoughts. So that's our look at some retro Minimate awesomeness from Diamond Select. And yeah, these are some of my favorite toy lines ever. I mean, they really are. There's nothing bad I've ever had to say about any of them. I just really love these toys, and I wanted to share them with you guys in a different way than I normally have, because I've reviewed them in a lot of ways in this channel already. And I've shown you guys the Marvel Minimates, I've shown you guys the Transformers, I've shown you guys all sorts of different Minimate lineups. But I feel like right now I really wanted to stress the fact that they're doing so many of the toys that we grew up with that you kind of just need to jump on them, because they're so fun, they're so different as a collectible. They're really awesome. They deserve their own spotlight in this particular style. So yeah, that's our look at Turtles, that's our look at G.I. Joes, that's our look at Transformers, but their license goes so much more beyond that. I mean, they've done Nightmare Before Christmas, they've done the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they've even done Star Trek, which is one of the lines they actually launched Minimates with originally. So yeah, they've got a whole bunch of things, there's a long history of these toys, and they're worth it. They're worth tracking down, they're worth buying. Yes, they are becoming a little bit more on the expensive side, but that's because, keep in mind, what you're getting with these toys each time is brand new pieces, and a lot of brand new pieces. All these Transformers here, yeah, they use the base body, and likewise with the Turtles, they use base body elements. But there's unique tooling to make all the different parts of their bodies, all the different arm attachments, the leg attachments, their feet, their torsos. You know, the Turtles are all brand new as well. So they're constantly producing new pieces to make these toys look different and stand out. And I think that they're worth the price. I honestly do. I mean, I wouldn't be collecting them this many years later if it wasn't for the fact that I didn't love them that much. So I hope you enjoyed this little look at all three of these guys and all the Minimates beyond. And I'd urge you to check out other reviews I've done of Minimates on this channel. Now, if you want to pick up any of these Minimates, I'm going to have links in the description below for these and others as well that you might like. If you click on those links and purchase anything from Amazon, whether it be these toys or something else, it helps support this YouTube channel at no extra cost to you, so please consider doing that. And let me know what you think about these figures too, because I know they can be sort of controversial among collectors, but for me, I'm a fan, always have been, and I think I always will. So till next time, I'm Matthew, this has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching, we'll see you guys later. Cowabunga, Turtle Power, Yo Joe, Autobots roll out, all the different things, you guys know it. See you later.